At Sunday Mass in downtown Kigali, Rwanda, Hutu and Tutsi families pray together side by side. One of many signs of this country's dramatic rebirth in the years since the genocide by Hutu militia of mostly Tutsis. But after nearly 20 years, the genocide still haunts Rwanda, especially in many of its churches. When the fighting began on April 9, 1994, thousands of both Hutu and Tutsi families fled to churches for sanctuary, like this one, Sainte Famille. The Hutu militia came to the door on April 15th. They spent a day carefully separating out the Tutsis, then led them to the side of the church and killed them. Witnesses say the head priest at that time actually helped identify the Tutsis in his congregation. There's no plaque that speaks of it. The church leaders prefer instead to look to their common future. But other sites across Rwanda officially mark such massacres, the government's memorials to genocide. One of the most moving of all lies an hour's drive from the capital. Halfway there, the road crosses the Nyabarongo River, which feeds the Nile. The river seems timelessly peaceful today, but it too is a national symbol of genocide. 2 years before the killing began, a Hutu extremist made a famous speech calling for all Tutsis to be wiped out and their bodies thrown into this river. In 1994, those words were made real, as this river became choked with tens of thousands of Tutsi bodies. These young men grew up nearby, but are too young, they say, to remember much of what happened. But they all remember the stories of how the bodies filled the river, as far as the eye could see. From the Nyabarongo River, it's a half-hour's drive to the destination of Nyamata, where, just outside the town, is the one-time Catholic church that is now among Rwanda's most unforgettable tributes to what happened, the Nyamata Genocide Memorial. Between April 10th and 15th, 1994, entire villages of Tutsi ran to this church, hoping the foreign priests might help protect them. 10,000 camped out here. Instead, Hutu militia came and slaughtered them. The remains of those families are now carefully preserved on the pews, in piles of their clothing, in their hats, their rosaries, and their bones.
The people who are here, they are so many, more than 10,000 people. Do you imagine 10,000 people to this smaller place? Yeah.
Leon Muguruka is a guide here.
But some of them were inside of the church.
Leon tells how with 10,000 to kill, the usual machete was far too slow. So the Hutu militia called in government troops with their machine guns and grenades to quicken the pace. In all, this site holds the remains of more than 40,000 victims from this area alone, which is still less than 5% of the 800,000 to 1 million Tutsis killed in those 100 days of 1994.
Forgiving is very difficult. It's very difficult. My parents, my brothers and sisters, and all of them were killed. But I say hope, because this country is a development in everywhere. I think it was we have a good future in this country. Yeah.
In the nearby hills, those hopes live in its school children, a new generation, aware of the past, but moving on. From Rwanda, this is Ed Robbins reporting for Time Video and the International Reporting Project.